All righty, Thad, you all set up over there on your side?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I was able to tag you or not, so.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I can look at shit. Okay, cool. Here we go. I don't know if I got to tag myself or what, but it's cool.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I can look at shit.
All right. Boom. There we go.
You got it?
Live.
All right.
Yep.
All righty, y'all. Hello, everybody. This is Crystal Oliver, your new favorite financial coach. And I've been jumping on Friday nights. This is Financial Freedom Friday. And we spend our Friday nights trying to coach you guys to financial freedom. We are so excited about our guest tonight. Them questions been coming in tonight. So we're so excited. We have Thaddeus Williams. Thaddeus is the CEO of Legendary Associates. And so he's going to talk to us tonight about the basics of investing. Welcome, Thad.
Thank you, man. Look, glad to be here, Krista. Glad to be here.
So we're going to jump right in. We have been doing, Thad, I don't know if you've been following us or not, but we've been doing a summer series, and we've had people to come in to talk about starting up your business or building up your savings. We had someone come in and talk about commercial properties. I had a friend that just paid her house off, and she came in and talked about paying her house off. So we have been showing people that look like us, that are managing their finances and that's taking it to the next level, because we want everybody in this community to really hone in on that, on understanding how important it is to manage your finances and build a legacy for your family. And so investing is one way to do that. And so I'm going to jump right in and start asking you these questions that I had. Man, my phone was popping off last night. I sent it out to a few people. It was popping off. So this is a topic that is near and dear to so many people that most of us just don't have enough information. So tonight, I'm hoping we can answer some of your basic questions. And then y'all have to call Thad after this to get all the details. So number one, how do I get started in investing?
Great question, right? Of course, there's many, different things that you can do. You can download apps and all kind of stuff, right? And so number one, right, real simple. You want to go to your app stores, type in one of these companies where you able to day trade and all of that stuff. You're more than welcome to do that. However, one of the things that I recommend people, if you're brand new, don't really know what you're doing, give it a professional. Give it a professional. I'm gonna throw this out there, right? Don't stop taking financial advice. Well, not necessarily financial advice, but investment recommendations from people that aren't licensed, right? Because most people don't take doctor recommendations from doctors that's not licensed. Okay, and so what I would recommend is just to get with a professional, right? Someone like myself, they can actually sit down, take a look, see where you're at, right, and then sort of determine what's like the best fit for you. So that's what I recommend, actually give it a professional.
That's great. Because everybody knows everything these days. So it's really good to have a licensed professional to help you in this process. What are the benefits of investing?
Man, great question. There's actually, quite a few. There's actually quite a few. So tax benefits, right? You have tax benefits out there. You have of course, you're going to have some money, right? You're going to have cash.
Right.
And so, but I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, is being able to look back, right, and say, man, because of what I did at such and such age, I'm sitting here on the nest egg of money. And now I can retire safely. I can retire comfortably. I don't have to worry about going back to work, punching the clock. Right, I don't have to worry about not necessarily volunteering, but you tell people you're volunteering, but you're really going back, at old age because you need the money. Does that make sense? And so I think the biggest benefit, the most benefit of it all, is so that you can actually successfully retire. Because think about it, Crystal. I can't speak for everybody, right? But when I was growing up, I didn't really see too many people successfully retire. Does that make sense? See, a lot of people retired, but what they ended up doing was going back, maybe to FedEx for the benefits, or they went to, go to Walmart to check the receipts because they need extra income. Does that make sense? And so I think I think the biggest, probably the most important benefit is for you to be able to successfully retire and enjoy your retirement. Don't have to go back to work, right? And you can enjoy your grandkids and do all of the stuff, man, that you really want to do, at old age, right? And live comfortably. So that's what I would say.
That's good. I mean, I think that's really for a lot of us, that's the point. And we're trying to figure out, how do we get to a place, there's this big movement like the FIRE movement, where people are trying to retire early, trying to get their finances together and retire early. And so really having that nest egg, like you said, and being prepared. Preparation is everything.
For sure. Watch this, Crystal, before you continue. One of the things that I tell people is this. See, a lot of people think retirement is an age, but it isn't, right? See, a lot of people say, hey, I want to retire early, and I want to retire, or you want to retire on time, right? 65, 67, right? You want to retire on time, but most people can't because they don't have the actual money. And so retirement is a dollar amount. It isn't necessarily tied to your age, right? See, if you had $3 million right now, you can retire today, okay? Right. And then, man, take your monthly income and make that shoot you money every month, right? And then boom, you're retired. And so one of the things that we like to help people with is put together some type of financial game plan to help them get to that dollar amount that'll help them achieve it. And so, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Crystal. I just feel like
I'm soaking it all in too. What do you talked about having a dollar amount. And so this goes straight into our next question. How much should I invest? Is it based on my age? Is it based on, how safe or how risky I want to be? Like, is there a percentage or a certain amount that I should invest? So what's the number?
Man, awesome question. And I'm gonna answer that because the way I'm gonna answer that is based upon the person. Does that make sense? Because some of that stuff that you just mentioned is based upon the person's investment objectives, right? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to achieve, right? What are you trying to do? Does that make sense? How old are you? Some of that stuff, right, that you sort of said. And so based upon where a person is at can sort of determine that, if that makes sense. So I can't just say, hey, this is how much you need to invest, right? And so the cool part about it is, actually sitting down with a person and then, having that doctor-patient relationship and then sort of getting in your business a little bit. Okay, I know a lot of us, right? We don't like people in our business, but man, sometimes, right, man, a person has to get in your business just a little bit, just a tad bit, okay, and then sort of help you get to where you're trying to go. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people, they know where they want to go, but they forget about where they are. Does that make sense? Because based upon where you are, you may not be able to get to where you're trying to go based on the amount that you're willing to invest, right? Because if I'm a late bloomer, if I'm a late, I'm a person that's starting late, I'm 60 years old, I have $0 saved, and I want to retire 67. Right? Well, I want to retire 67. I want $1 million saved. Well, wait a minute, slow down, Turbo, right? We got to sit down. We got to adjust some stuff, take a look at some things and stuff like that. And so that's why I say it sort of determines, a person's goals and objectives and things like that.
That's perfect. Because everybody, like you said, everybody is in a different place. And so it's really based on setting that plan in place. I'm always talking about a plan and like personalizing your plan for you. And then, once you get your budget right, you know how much money you have left over and you can start investing. So if I'm a beginner, okay, so I want to get started, would you recommend, and you've already kind of answered this question, but would you recommend me trying to do this on my own?
Man, I think that's a phenomenal question, Krista. And the reason why I think that's so awesome is because if you pay attention to the trends, right? Everybody got a Facebook, everybody has a Twitter, everybody has an Instagram, right? And man, there's always different things trending. Hey, invest in this, invest in that, right? And I think, nothing is wrong with that stuff, right? However, I do think it's necessary that you actually sit with a professional if you're a beginner. Okay, you're not familiar with this stuff, right? You've never done this before. I think that you should actually sit down with a true professional, someone that's licensed, and they can sort of coach you right through that process and sort of help you get to where you're trying to go. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times, these apps and things of that nature, when you're investing into direct stock, right? When you're investing into, stock directly into a direct company is much riskier, right? And you want to actually sit down with someone that can sort of help you and guide you and sort of hold your hand, get you where you're trying to go.
Okay. You talked a little bit about stocks, and this was not on one of our listed questions, so I'm throwing you a curveball here.
Sure, I'm cool with it.
Explain to me just a little bit about what does investing really mean, right? And so, like, I might invest in, and this might be like, there is a question of how do you diversify your portfolio? So maybe that's kind of a similar question, but what does it mean? Like, we all know, okay, we're putting our money up, but like, what are we putting it into? And how do we make sure that we have gains and that there's progress? So
there you go. Absolutely.
Okay.
Man, I love that question, Crystal. I love that question. It's like, hey, what am I even investing in? Does that make sense? Like, I know I'm investing, but where's my money even going? And so I think that's an awesome question, because guess what, Crystal? People do that every day. Okay. See, believe it or not, people go to work Monday through Friday, right? And the second week of the month, some money is going to their 401k. The only thing that they know is that it's a 401k. That's it. Right? But they don't know what's exactly inside of their 401k and where their money is going. And so what we deal with, right, what we sort of do is sort of deal with the same exact thing. So, stuff similar to a 401k, such as Roth IRAs, different things of that nature. And pretty much inside of those accounts, so inside of your 401k, you have things called mutual funds. Okay. And so pretty much when it comes to a mutual fund, that's what people invest in. Okay. So let me sort of explain what a mutual fund is and sort of break that down, make that simple. Okay. I'm sort of going to demystify this thing, Crystal. Okay. And so watch this. And so if I have $100, Crystal has $100. Okay. And let's say your husband, Derek, has $100. Okay. Now we all place our money on the floor. Crystal, how much money is on the floor?
$300. For
sure. Now, this $300, do we want this $300 to grow, or do we want this $300 to not grow?
Grow, please.
Absolutely. We definitely want our money to grow. And so guess what, Crystal? Because of the fact that we want our money to grow, we're not financial professionals. We're not financial gurus. We don't study, companies' balance sheets and PR ratios and finding out if a company is growing or not, right? We don't study that stuff. So what we do is we give our $300 to what we call professional money managers. Okay. These are the people that manage the money. They are fund managers, mutual fund managers. Okay. And what they do is they're going to take out $300, Crystal, and they're going to invest it thinly into between 100 to 300 different companies. Okay, that's what they're going to do. And so now these different companies that our money is going to be invested into is pretty much companies that you sort of know. Does that make sense? Like Amazon, Apple, Nike, Tesla, companies that you sort of know already. Does that make sense? Companies that has a track record. These companies has been studied and all of that stuff. Okay. And so now these companies that I named, Crystal, let me ask you a question. Give me your unbiased opinion. Okay. Do you think that those companies make money?
Yes, I hope. Yes.
For sure. Absolutely. But on the flip side of that, let me ask you this. Do you think these companies may lose money sometimes, right? Somebody run off with a box of Apple iPhones in South Memphis, right? Somebody that ran off with, with the iPhones. They lost some money, right? Or, somebody that took the Amazon package, right? Somebody that Amazon that lost some money. So, but on the flip side of that, let me ask you, do you think that these companies make more money than they lose?
Yeah,
what you say?
I would think
so. For
so.
sure. For sure. Absolutely. And so now, as these companies make money, what do you think is going to happen to $300?
Our money grows.
Boom. Okay. And that's called a mutual fund. And so what happens is all of the profits, all the capital gains and all of that stuff gets split amongst the investors. Okay. And so that's sort of what your money get invested into, mutual funds. Okay. And so that's sort of what we deal with. That's sort of what we help people with. Because rather than you trying to manage your own money, we recommend that you actually have some professionals to sort of manage your money, because most people do other professions for a living, dentists, doctors, nurses, right? Things like that.
Okay.
Did I answer your question? I
You
hope I answered
did
your
answer
question.
my question because
Okay.
I feel like I've received that as an answer before, but then it's always good to be reminded of, especially when you're giving someone your money.
There you go.
I think a lot of us, we're skeptical in some ways because we're like, okay, so what are you doing with my money? I would rather just do it on my own. And so that's why a lot of apps and things are popular, because people want to say, hey, I want to do this on my own. But I think, I agree with you. We have a financial planner. We have somebody that invests our money for us. And you're right. They is all up in our business.
Absolutely.
Because they're looking at the bigger picture. So they want to see everything, because they want to be able to help guide us so that we can build our financial legacy. So that's good. What is a good book? So let's say I just want to I want a deeper understanding. Are there any good books out there that I can start reading to understand investments?
Man, I think that's just an amazing question. But the answer I'm going to give you is probably not your typical answer. Okay. See, check this out, Crystal. One of the things that I tell people, if you want to learn the game, I tell people study the game. Does that make sense? And so one of the things that I would recommend people is to start with the basics. Okay, like the prerequisites. Okay, like the basics, and it's actually public information, right? But there's something called the SIE. Okay, there's something called the SIE, and I would recommend people to go to Google, type in SIE, okay, study material, and it will give you all the information you need about stock, okay, that you could ever even ask for. Okay, so that's what I would recommend people use, and that's actually the same information that any licensed professional has to use. And so that's what I recommend.
Okay, so what does the SIE tell us? Give us a little bit more detail about what it provides for us.
Great question. So pretty much, hey, what is a stock? Does that make sense? Like what is a stock? Like I'm talking basics, Krista. Like what is a stock, right? What is a security? What is a bond, right? And pretty much just teaching you, the like base level of this industry, starting you straight from scratch. Does that make sense? And so that's sort of what I would recommend if a person is actually thinking about, the industry and you really want to get a deeper understanding. But as far as, investment books, written by some investment gurus or something like that, I don't got any of those, Crystal. But great question, though.
I actually think that that's what they want to hear. Like, where do I go? Where do I go to just start from point zero to get an understanding? So even when I do go to a professional and I give him my money, I know what I'm investing in. And so I understand basic terminology. And so I think a lot of times we take for granted that we all understand, all these financial terms, but a lot of us have not grown up listening, hearing those terms. And so really like taking a moment to read and understand, like even when we do courses, we use we do what we call vocabulary words, basically. Right. So that people understand what is an asset, what is a liability. So yes, I love
Take it back to school. Take it to school.
Taking it back to school. What are, so you may have answered this question already, but how do you diversify your portfolio? That's a question.
Great question. Yep. So yeah, pretty much I did answer it. So one of the things that I tell people, right, is just mutual funds. And so what a mutual fund is pretty much what I explained earlier. Okay. However, on the flip side of that, let me pretty much break this down into layman's terms. So a mutual fund is just a bunch of different stock. Does that make sense? So stock is just pretty much one company. All right. If I want to take $10,000, Crystal, this is diversification at its finest. Watch this. If I take $10,000 and invest it into MasterCard, does that make sense? Everybody know MasterCard, right? Folks just swipe, okay? There's a bunch of people may be in credit card debt with them, so everybody know MasterCard, okay? But if I take $10,000, Krista, and I invest it in the MasterCard, and we wake up tomorrow, MasterCard bottoms out, people stop swiping for whatever reason. How much money did I just lose, Krista?
$10,000, probably.
I just lost all my money. Yep, she said probably plus, okay? Absolutely, okay? I've just lost all of my money. Now, diversification is a mutual fund, okay? So now if I take this same $10,000 and I invest it into this mutual fund, well, now inside of this mutual fund, there's hundreds of different companies, okay? So let's just say I have 150 different companies. Well, check this out, Krista. In order for me to lose all my $10,000, I need all 150 different companies to just bottom out. Okay. So that's diversification. And now how likely is that though? Right? Not saying that it can't happen, but it's just not as likely as one company just bottoming out. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so that's like diversification at its finest, okay? At its finest. And so awesome question though. Awesome question.
Let me see. What are the best tools to invest for the short term and the long term?
Man, I think this is so huge, right? Because check this out, Krista. A lot of people, they think that when they're investing, that everything is just all long term. Does that make sense? That's what a lot of people think. But I'm gonna tell you the 3 accounts that I sort of teach people on, Krista. Number one, first and foremost, I know you touched this, emergency fund. That's like number one, first and foremost, because emergencies are definitely gonna happen. Wouldn't you agree? Right. Absolutely. And so emergencies are gonna come and you can't avoid them. And check this out, Krista, they never happen when you want them to. Okay. so emergency fund, that's number one. Okay. So you talking short term, boom, that's like number one short term. Okay. Now
let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this quick question. Do you tell people to put their emergency fund in a certain type of account? Or do you just do a general savings account? Or do you do like money market?
Great question.
Okay.
Yep. That's a great question. So, we could do money market. However, I teach people a little discipline. I say, hey, look, I need you to see this in your savings account or like your personal account, right? I need for you to see X amount of dollars in this. Does that make sense? And so to be honest, Crystal, sometimes I won't even sit down and do investments with a person that they don't have an emergency fund. Because if you don't have an emergency fund, why are we investing? Right? You need to invest into your savings account. That's where your money needs to go, okay? So if a person don't have that in order, we'll help them get that in order. Does that make sense? And so some people want to even, do that with. We got to make sure emergency fund is in place, all right? And so back to the question, though. Give me the question again, because I forgot.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was a good answer, though. That was a good beginning to an answer. Hold on. I said, what are the best tools to invest in for the short term and the long term?
Okay, gotcha. Short term and long term. So yep, short term emergency fund. Okay. Now after that, I recommend what we call a short term account. Okay. So there are brokerage accounts, short term accounts. One of them we call a TOD account. It's a TOD, individual account. And what that means is transfer on death. Okay. Put a beneficiary on it. Something happened to you. Your beneficiary can take it over, let it continue to grow. They can liquidate it, whatever they want to do. Okay. And so I recommend that for people that have something coming up soon or they want to touch their money before 59 and a half. So a lot of times what happens is this, Crystal, people have number one, but they never have number two, what I just mentioned, the short-term account. So because they don't have number two, they gonna start messing with money from number three, which is their wealth building account, which is their 401k, which is your 403b at your job, right? It's your retirement account that a person has at their job. And as soon as the emergency fund gets low, Crystal, they go straight to touching the 401k. Well, if you touch the 401k, you've now broken the rules, okay? Because the rules were that you can't touch this money before 59 and a half. Well, why can't I touch my money before 59 and a half, Thad? Isn't it my money? Yes, you're absolutely correct. But one of the things that they did was they put rules on this money because they're giving you a few tax benefits. Okay. So this money in your 401k, you hadn't paid any taxes on it. All of this money was pre-tax. Okay. So they wait until you get ready to retire, retirement age, and then you pay taxes on it when you're at a lower tax bracket with your 401k. And so because of that, Crystal, if you go and touching that money, you've broken the rules. And so because you broke the rules, there's a 10% penalty. Plus, you probably finna get a 20% federal tax withholding. So this money is gonna cost you 30%, 32%, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So because of that, because we didn't have number 2 in order, right? Because we didn't have the short-term account, man, when the emergency fund went, got depleted, we messed around and went to the 3rd account, and then boom, we messed ourselves up. And so most people never have number 2, Chris. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, most people, when their emergency fund gets low, they're going straight to their 401k. Okay, but they're messing themselves up because it's gonna hurt long term, long range, because there's money you're stopping from growing. Okay, and so yep, great question. Short term account is what I call it. I call that money that you want to touch before 59 and a half. So let's just say, for instance, you got a down payment. I'm sorry about that. So let's just say, for instance, you have a down payment on the house that you're getting ready to do, right? Well, I won't be putting money in here until maybe 5 to 10 years later. Well, we need to go short-term account rather than, retirement account. But great question, though. Great question. Hope I answered.
So let me tell you this. I want you to go a little bit more detail on what that second one is, okay? So is that just another savings account, or is that an investment account? Or am I investing in something, or am I just putting additional money into a savings account?
Great question. So pretty much it worked sort of similar to your retirement account. Okay. So it's essentially mutual funds. Okay. Essentially mutual funds. And so the same exact thing that's in your retirement account, except you don't have to wait until you're 59 and a half to touch your money. Now, on the flip side of that is this: that money is now taxable. The growth is taxable. Does that make sense? Okay. So retirement account, you get tax benefits, right? You get tax benefits. So sometimes your taxes can be deferred. Sometimes your taxes can be deductible, right? It just sort of depends, right? But if you go non-retirement account, you don't have those tax benefits. So non-retirement account, I tell people, no rules on your money. Retirement account, retirement rules on your money. It's a retirement account, there's going to be rules. And if you break the rules, there's a 10% penalty and plus taxes. Does that make sense? Non-retirement account, no rules on your money, okay? But you don't get any tax benefits because there's no rules on the money. Touch whenever you want. Right. Yep. But you do have to pay taxes on the growth, though, in your non-retirement account.
Okay. That's good. That's good to know. And so let me see, can we claim, we're talking about taxes, so can we claim your investment benefits on your tax return?
Yeah, great question. So depending on the type of account, does that make sense? So I'm pretty sure if you got a 401k, when you're doing your taxes, they ask you a question about your 401k. Hey, did you contribute into a retirement account? All of that stuff. So yep. So let's say, for instance, you have a traditional IRA, right? So if you have a traditional IRA, that's tax deductible. If you have a Roth IRA, that isn't tax deductible. And so it's sort of just 401ks, that's tax deferred, right? So based upon the account, you can sort of determine, of course, get with your tax professional, right? But based upon a person, account, though, that's the tax benefit based upon the person's account. But yep, so sometimes I sit down with people, right, and if they're having a tax problem, there's certain accounts that I may recommend. Does that make sense? Right. And so, of course, they still got to give it a tax professional, of course, but that's sort of how we approached it.
Okay, that's good. That was good. Is there a limit on how much I can invest? So we see different things, and then I had somebody do a follow-up question to say, if there is a limit, then could I go open up a second account? You hear people talk about oh, there's a yearly limit. And then it's sort of okay, can I get past that?
How bypass it? For sure.
Can I bypass it? Okay.
No, absolutely. So when it comes down to Roth IRAs and things like that, yep, there are limits, right? There are limits on your retirement accounts, on most of them anyway. But in a Roth IRA, your limit is about $6,000. It's about that's your limit, $6,000 a year. Okay. And so now if you're over 50, you can catch up and do $7,000 a year. All right. You can catch up and do $7,000 a year. And so now there's even income limits. So if you make too much money, you can't even contribute into a Roth IRA, right? And so on the flip side of that, though, You do have your non-retirement accounts though. So let's say for instance, you max that out, right? You max out your Roth IRA. So you maxing out your 401k, you're maxing out your Roth IRA. And I was like, hey, what's next? Does that make sense? Of course, we tell people make sure you got your, your non-retirement account in order, right? So if you got your non-retirement account, right, this is money that you don't have to, that's not limited to the retirement age, okay, which is what we just got through talking about. And so then I may tell them to go there. And so, great question though.
So what's the limit on the 401k?
I think I want to say it's like 19,500, something like that. But yeah. Don't quote me on that though. All right, but I think it's somewhere up in there.
Okay. So you can go to invest in another account. So you can have a 401k, a Roth IRA, a
non-IRA.
Oh yeah. So you actually can bypass it if you balling like that.
There you go. I was just gonna say, see, check this out, Krista. Most of the people that we sit down with, most of the people that we deal with, right, man, they don't already have, $500,000. Does that make sense? Like they don't already have, right, 200,000-300,000. Right? A lot of the things that we do, right, we sort of help people get there. Does that make sense? And so when we sit down with people, right, most of the people that we help, is your everyday middle income families, and those people ain't balling out of control like that. Okay. And so but great question though.
We want you to have at least one retirement account. But if you balling like that, then have several. Should we set an investment goal? That's a question that I received.
Nah, for sure. Absolutely. I always tell people, man, forget an investment goal, man, what's your life goals, right? Man, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, what you want to get done in your life, right? Man, what kind of money you want to leave your kids, right? What kind of legacy do you want to leave, right? Man, like what you want to build one day, right? To where, man, you can have, something and your kids remember you, right? See, one of the things I ask people this, Crystal, man, is your grandkids gonna even remember you? I ain't talking about your kids, I'm talking about your grandkids. Like is your grandkids' kids gonna remember you? Mm-hmm. See, check this out, Krista. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like after my great granddaddy, I don't know him. I'm gonna be honest. Don't make me a bad person or nothing, right? But like my great granddaddy on the other side, I don't know him. Mm-hmm. Right. So the farthest I go is my dad's dad.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So man, why is that? Right? Why is that? Man, but watch this though, Krista. I guarantee you, leave your grandkids a head start. Mm-hmm. Like start saving, start investing. Leave your grandkids a head start and watch they put a picture of you in the living room or something. Right? Man, look, because of granddaddy, we got this, right? And because of great granddaddy, we get to live like this. Does that make sense? And so one of the things, that I tell people is, man, when it comes down to setting your goals, right? Book you some goals. Absolutely. I'm all for it, right? But when it comes to your investment goals, make sure it's not just about you. See, a lot of times, Crystal, what people do is they say, hey, well, it's going to take my money 20 years to get where I want it. It's going to take my money 30 years to get where I want it. Well, I tell people all the time, I say, well, you're selfish because you're just thinking about you. Mm-hmm. See, you're just thinking about you. See, if you're thinking about your kids, right, and you're thinking about your kids, right, man, why does that even matter? Right? Like if you want your grandkids, I tell people, man, your grandkids, your great grandkids, right, man, they're gonna remember you. They're gonna remember if you left them something or not. They are. I promise you they will. They'll remember if you left them something. If you live your lifestyle, because everybody like to throw around this term generational wealth, Crystal. Everybody love throwing it around, but I tell people, man, you gotta truly live that. It's not an easy task, right? I tell people if you wanna leave generational wealth, well, you gotta start making money, start making some type of income that it take generations to make. Does that make sense? That's what I tell people, right? Well, start saving some type of money that it take generations to make. Does that make sense? And so the problem is most people, their goals aren't that far out. Does that make sense? Their goals aren't that far out. So what I tell people, man, the sky's the limit. Reach for it, right? Reach for the stars, right? And absolutely, definitely set you some investment goals. Set you some, some type of something to chase. See, a lot of times, Crystal, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, but I gotta lay this out because it just been on my
Go.
heart, and so I'm sorry, okay?
Go.
But I just feel like, you know, man, you gotta set some type of like you gotta have something to chase. And if you don't have nothing to chase, you will never get your butt up and chase it. Does that make sense? And so most people most people never reach $1 million in their investment account, not on accident, but on purpose, because they purposefully never chased it. Does that make sense? They say if you don't try to intentionally become rich, and you will accidentally end up broke. That's what they say, right? Because you never chased it, like you never focused on it, you never tried to become a millionaire, you never tried to see 2 million, 3, 5 million in your account. You never intentionally focused on it. Right. And you never set a goal, you never made it a reality. And so, man, what happens? You accidentally end up with just enough, you know? Right. And so that's typically how it works. So, yep, I say definitely set you an investment goal for sure.
That's good. I had my friend Angela on the other day, and she a couple of Fridays ago, and she paid her house off, right? So I'm like, okay, so you know, what's next? You know, because a lot of times you feel like, okay, that's the ultimate goal, you know. And she's like, oh no, I got the next goal in mind, because a lot of us, we get stuck in one place. So I'm all about being debt free. And so every time I pay those debts off, I get that adrenaline, right? And so if I don't get, you know, if I don't set goals for the next thing, and like the savings goals and then the investing goals, I can get stuck in this cycle of, okay, I'm gonna pay my debts off. Then, you know, I make more debts and then I pay the debts off, you know, like you kind of get stuck in that cycle if you're not thinking beyond that one thing, like thinking beyond the goal that you have in place right now. So that's really good. That's really good that you have to set your mind to it and start thinking about it. Really, truly.
Focus on it.
How do I make sure? I'm gonna ask you 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna let you go. Look, we can sit here all night.
Yeah, look,
how do I make sure my investments are safe? That's a question.
Okay.
How do I make sure my investments are safe?
Great question. I think this is good. You know, the reason why I think this is good, you all, is because most people, they associate investments with risky. Does that make sense? Like they associate, like they immediately think investments and think gamble, right? And so a lot of people don't know, right, man, that there are actually, you know, conservative investments. You know, there's investments for people they got scared money. I call it scared money, right? Man, look, if you got scared money, we got something for you too, okay? And so, man, look, like there's something for different flavors of people. Does that make sense? Scared money, conservative, right? I'm holding on tight. Or, you know, all the way to the person that says, hey, look, I'm trying to run that checkup. Okay. Look, I'm trying to give me some that's aggressive, right? So that, you know, I can eventually, you know, I know it's more risk involved if I'm aggressive, right? But give me something, right, to where I can actually, you know, man, get to run my money up. But of course, though, there are safe investments. There are things that's, I'm gonna say, more safe, right? It's conservative and it does better than a bank, you know, it does better than a bank. And so, yep, there are safe investments in different conservative vehicles out there.
Okay, good. And then I'm gonna ask you this one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I am, you know, a low to income person, okay, so I'm trying to get it together. I want to invest, but I don't have a lot. Where in the world do I start?
Man, look, you need to just message me right now, okay? 901-490-1526. That's all I recommend. I'm gonna tell you why. So because check this out, Crystal, that's a lot of people's situation. They never say it, right? Because think about it. It's social media, right? It's Facebook, everybody flexing. Okay, everybody got, you know, they posting the cars, right? Everybody taking vacation, Krista, and they living life, they splurging, you know. But man, a lot of times, to be honest, Krista, man, look, man, they need what we do the most. You know, they need what we do the most, and so there's actually, you know, a bunch of people reality, and so this is what we do. We actually sit down and formulate the plan. Some of the stuff that you do, that's what we do. Okay, so we make people. I give grown people homework, Krista. All right. Now, you know, grown folks don't like doing homework, don't they?
Yeah, I know.
and so look, we give them homework, right? Man, we give grown people homework and we say, hey, look, we got to meet you where you are. Okay, we got to meet you where you at. Okay, and so this is what I want you to do. This is what we say. We say, listen, the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make you list out your budget. Okay, we want you to prove to yourself where your money going. That's what we want you to do. Okay, take it out of your head and put it on paper. Because everybody, yeah, I know where my money going, right? And man, next thing you know, it's a deficit. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. and so that's number one, right, man? Let's get your budget together. Let's find out what you got, what you don't got. Okay. And then after we get the budget together, find out where we can save you, find out where we can save you money. Okay. Because there may be some areas where we can actually help you. You think you don't have the money, but in reality, you do. You just paying Comcast $250 a month though. Right? You paying AT&T 200, right? 300, right? And so a lot of people think they don't have the money, but it's just not prioritized correctly a lot of times. Does that make sense? So that's number one. We start with the budget. So let's prove to me you don't have the money. Let's prove it, right? So let's prove if you have the money or not. Okay. So that's number one. Then after that, we're gonna list out your debt. Right, man. Let's take a look at what you owe. Let's take a look at what you got. All right, and then we're gonna pay that debt off. Because I'm just like you, Krista. Check this out. We always believe people should be debt free. Okay, debt free is the way to be. Okay, so we big on that. Okay, so we hearing the same right here, Krista. Debt freedom. Okay, and then after you list out your debt, right, then we can actually take a look and formulate the plan. Does that make sense? Because we can't put together the plan until we find out where you're at, as I mentioned earlier. And so, boom, once we find out where you're at, then we can find out if you truly can afford it, if maybe we need to pay some stuff off, maybe we need to do this, maybe we need to do that. We have to find that out first. And then once we find that out, Crystal, we can make the decision on, hey, you know what? You thought the whole time that you couldn't afford $50 a month. But in reality, you had it. Right? and like you see what I'm saying? You got it, right? And so we just sort of sometimes, just sort of meet people, where they get.
That's awesome. So how do you already gave out your number? You didn't give me time to ask you for it.
Nah, you good.
How do we? So if somebody is saying, you know what, this is good information, and I try to bring on people that I feel like that I trust. And so if somebody says, this is great information, I want to be able to get in touch with you. I want to start investing. I want to understand investments. So how do they get in touch with you?
For sure. I always recommend people to reach me directly, right? I always tell people that because I'm an open book. I'm no better than nobody else. Okay, I come from North Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, and look, I'm just a regular person. Just a regular person, man. Look, and so I always tell people, man, reach me directly. Okay, you can ring my phone, right? Shoot me a text, whatever. Whatever you want to do, reach out to me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Okay, DM, send me a direct message, right? If that's a because I know things are fast today. It may be someone looking at this right now, and it is 9:46 at night, and they like, oh no, I need to get with him, right? And man, look, instead of you getting off on your phone saying, well, it's too late, I don't want to call him, I'm gonna call him tomorrow, right? Instead of doing that and waiting, just go to my name, click message, and send me a message, right? And man, I will reach out to you. Okay, I'm an open book. Okay, man, I love helping people. I love meeting good, genuine people, right? Especially like Krista here, right? And so, and so, look, that's how you can reach me, right? I guess I'll throw my number out there again, 901-490-1526, right? You can reach me directly if you want, okay? And I think that's like the best. Everything else, I respond too slow. If that makes sense, I may respond a little slow, right? But that's like the best, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna get them. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna tag you on this. So if anybody wants to send you a message, I'll make sure that they have your Facebook information. You called out your number. So if they want to reach you, they have a way to do that. And so I am so grateful for the time you spent tonight. This has been my longest interview because I have more questions. Like I said, so many questions about it. But I appreciate you breaking it down. And so I like to Budget Me Black. We like to make what feels like difficult information, we like to simplify it. So
There you
everybody
go.
feel like they can do it. And so I tell everybody can do what we do. This is not rocket science, but it's just a matter of taking the time to learn it and to have that discipline. And so we've already gone through the school of hard knocks over here. You have, I have,
Yeah,
and I already did it. And so all you
absolutely.
have to do is tap into the knowledge we already have. And so
For
you
sure.
take a few minutes, call Dad about investing, call Derek and I about like your budgeting or whatever it is, your savings, your debt reduction plan. Take a few minutes. We have the tools that you need to be able to do that. So reach us at budgetmeblack.com. If this video has been helpful to you at all, make sure you share it. Tag somebody, share it. Because this is good information that a lot of people are not giving out for free. Okay. And so, or you have to, find somebody that you trust, and then you don't know if you trust them or not. And so I'm giving you somebody that you can trust. All right. And so thank you for joining me on tonight. And then Derek and I are actually doing a course in October called Marriage, Money, and Mission. And we have some really fun Friday nights coming up as well. And so I'm looking forward to, if you want to find out more information about the Marriage, Money, and Mission course, you can go to that Budget Me Black website, find their course, you can register for their course. And we are so excited. We got a lot of fun things planned for you. And so thank y'all so much. And y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you again, Thad.
Hi, Crystal.
All right, let me.